This is the 100th episode of Confessions of a Bikini Pro, and I'm so happy if you couldn't tell. Oh my goodness, 100 episodes. This would not have been possible without you, the listener, whether this is your first time listening or your 100th time listening, or maybe your 200th if you listen to them all the time, multiple times, or you go back for more. I don't know. Either way, 100 episodes published, released, done, signed, sealed, delivered. Baby, thank you so much, all of you, for listening to this podcast. You know what? I kind of had this last minute idea, and I wish I would have given it more time and been announced it on the podcast and said everybody should do this and join me. But I more so just announced it on Instagram. So if you listen but you don't follow me there yet, it's celestial_fit. Because sometimes I make other announcements there about the podcast that I'm I can't release an episode before that. This was one of those moments. And this is really special for me. And I listened to this episode as I was editing it just a couple minutes ago, and I nearly cried because I asked you guys, I said, can you please call and submit something that, you love about the podcast, or how it's helped you, or when you like to listen to it, or main takeaways you've had. And I got a few people who submitted a voice memo. And you know what? That takes a lot of guts. And I know it takes a lot of guts. And I appreciate that so much more than I could even put in words. And the things that were said on those voice memos, it's surreal. I don't even know that it's sunk in yet. And you guys are going to get to hear them in a minute. And what's crazy is these are people like you. Maybe it is you. These are people like you who are experiencing similar emotions and scenarios and going through similar things as you. We're all in this path together in this sport of bodybuilding, as we've discussed in probably 100 of the episodes, that we can all connect through bodybuilding. And if we haven't discovered that yet together, well, we're about to, because I'm sure you're going to hear some relatable things here on this show, on this particular episode. But before we do that, I just wanted to say, when I started this podcast as a whole, I genuinely never imagined that it would grow the way that it has grown, or it would reach the amount of people it has reached and touch the amount of hearts it's touched. And it feels sort of silly to make this, I'm going to be honest, it feels sort of silly making this episode, because I feel like you guys had such amazing things to say, not just about the show, but about me. And it feels weird almost publishing it. But also, I want to give voice to you guys, the listeners. And in celebration of 100 episodes, as I'm recording this, we have 241,005 unique downloads for this show. I don't even understand. I'm blown away. Every single day I'm blown away, because I get to do something that I love. I get to connect with athletes that I love, in a sport that I love, with a community that I really cherish and want the best for. And so while it feels a little weird making this episode and having all these basically a hype session, I also heard some very relatable things in these voice memos that I know you can all relate to. And I'm going to be honest, although I didn't expect it to blow up the way that it has, I always knew that we would get so much value out of having real, raw, and vulnerable conversations. And we have. Mission accomplished. And 100 is just a milestone. And soon it'll be 200, and then it'll be another and another. And who knows what this podcast could grow into. And I gotta tell you guys, I am really working on my own game as a competitor too, because I would love, one of my goals for this podcast, I would love to be making a podcast episode with my own insights and my own confessions as a bikini pro. However, it's one of my motivators to be a guest on my own show, to be able to produce consistent episodes as a bikini pro myself. And so that motivates me. But I also know and I also appreciate that you guys still get so much value out of this and appreciate the things that I have to say. And I also want to say thank you to those of you who have left reviews on iTunes, on iTunes, sharing just such sweet, amazing words. And we've had like a couple potato hater taters leaving their hating, but it's okay because it's not for I'm not for everyone. But this podcast can benefit anyone, I believe, in the sport and in this industry. And something that I'm really committed to with this podcast is bringing new conversations, bringing new topics. And I think you guys are going to really like some of the upcoming episodes for sure. But what helps me and what I love and appreciate so much is when you guys give me athletes you want to talk to, questions you want me to ask them, or even topics you want to cover. And, I spend at least an hour prepping every single episode that I do. And to have that be appreciated and acknowledged means so much. But I also want to appreciate and acknowledge you guys as the listeners. You inspire me to do that. You guys listening, you guys sharing this, you guys posting it on your story, you guys kicking off your day with it, doing your road trips with it. Like, do you know how surreal that is for me? I can't put it in words. I hope one day, actually, I hope every day when I wake up, I know that I can represent this sport, this industry in a different way. But to hear you guys believe that mission and believe in me and my mission to help competitors build more than just a body and heal their relationship with food and to make peace with food, their body, and their goals, that means so much to me. And it's something that I want to continue to do and spread love and excitement about in the industry. And so I wanted to give you guys a gift, actually. And for those of you who don't know, there is apparel for this podcast, and I decided to create like a little promo code to celebrate 100 episodes. So if you have listened and you are listening to the 100th episode, you can go on to celestial.fit/podcast, click on the purchase apparel button, and then put the code party time. It doesn't matter if it's caps or lowercase, just party time, no space, party time. Okay. In the checkout box, and you'll get free shipping, which is really exciting. I can't say how that's impacted at this very moment of recording it with the COVID-19, but might as well try it. I really love to see you guys rocking the shirts and the tank tops and the tees and all of that. I also wanted to say, to those of you who listen to this podcast and you implement the work and you implement the ideas and the golden nuggets and the mindsets and the processes, that does so much in the long run for you, because you can listen to podcasts all day, but the podcast itself can't change your life. It's what you do with it, right? It's what you do with it that can make the difference. And I appreciate those of you who do implement it, who do take it to the next level, who do choose to do something for themselves. Beyond that, I even want to acknowledge all the clients that have come to me, the women who have become my clients because of this podcast, and say thank you for taking action. And if you have ever considered working with me or want to work with me, reach out. I never believe anyone is a lost cause. If I truly believe I can help you, I will do what I can to help you. If I don't believe I can help you, I'll always point you in the right direction. But I'm really here to help you as a competitor to build more than just a body, to have the most fulfilling preps and improvement seasons. When I started this podcast, it was not about that. Let me tell you the truth. It was not about that. When I started this podcast, I remember I was on a hike, and I said this in a previous episode, I think after a year. I was on a hike and I said, I really want to start this podcast that I thought of while I was running on the treadmill in my garage. I was running on the treadmill in my garage looking at a package of Oreos, and I was like, you know what? I wonder if pros ever go through this where they just have this mental battle like, Anyway, then I was thinking about, I'd love to have those conversations. I'd love to facilitate those conversations. Why isn't anyone facilitating these conversations? I couldn't find any info on these pros except for what's on their Instagram feed. And I was like, I know it goes so much deeper than this. I want to get more out of them. I want to know them. I want to talk to them. And I knew success left clues as well, So success leaves clues, and I thought if I could pull those clues out of them, we could all benefit from it. So with that, I've developed so many amazing friendships and connections through this show, and I'm so glad I decided to go for it. And on that hike, my mom said, you just gotta release it. You just gotta do it. She said, when are you gonna do it? I was like, and the next day I started planning it, and I was running a business like fitness coaching, online nutrition coaching, things like that. But I was studying psychology, and I had already previously healed my own relationship with food and my body, and I was being tested. It was the end of my preps. And I remember when I made that episode, that very first episode, and I released the podcast, then my season came to an end. And I started struggling again. And I was like, what the heck? But I knew I had such a community just through this podcast. I had so many girls who were competitors, who wanted to be competitors, and who struggled with these things. And I was like, I have the tools to help overcome the post-show blues. I have the tools to help overcome the disordered eating patterns. I have the tools to help girls overcome a negative relationship with food, to overcome their negative relationship with their body. I could do this for myself. I know I can help them. Plus, I then shifted my complete degree focus to be all about food relationships and all about eating disorders and all about negative self-affect and body image. And it really inspired me. And this podcast was the catalyst for all of this. That's why it's so surreal to be here recording 100th episodes. Like in 100 episodes, all of these things have changed and have come to fruition and have evolved. And it's because of this community. It's because of you guys. It's because of you listening right now. I don't want to talk too much, but I just want to really express my sincerest gratitude for you guys. And I hope like some of the girls mentioned in these memos, like you can talk to me anytime. Genuinely care about you, and I want you to know that. I started this podcast platform with so much love in my heart, so much desire to just immerse in this community and support this community. And I carry that with me every single day in the work that I do. And I want to continue that with every episode, and I never want to lose sight of that because this started as a passion project. And I've never done anything without passion in my life, and that's not going to change. So I'm really committed to this podcast for you guys, but mostly I'm committed to you, and I'm committed to this journey that we've all been on together. So thank you for tuning in. Now I would like to introduce you to the anonymous, amazing women who decided to call in and leave a voice memo. And if you love this and you want to start calling and leaving voice memos and getting featured on here, let me know. Send me a message on Instagram and say that you really like this, or you think we should or could incorporate more of the listeners into the episodes, because I'd love to hear how you guys would like to do that. Maybe I'm thinking we even start having an announcement of an athlete that's coming on or a topic we'll do, and you can just submit questions using the fan line. So submit what you guys think would be great. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed. Leave a review if you haven't yet. Rate it and share with a friend. When you share it with a teammate or a friend or a group of people in the sport, it goes a long way. So thank you guys so much. 100 episodes. Party time. Let's go.
This is one of my favorite podcasts to listen to. I usually listen to it when I'm having a hard time getting through my workout, just listening to all the pros and Celeste through the workout. I love how motivating everybody is and all of the tips that the pros share.
Hello, this is Elsa, Pink Iron Elsa on Instagram, and I just want to say that I have been looking for a podcast just like this for so long. I'm prepping for my second competition. I did an 8 weeks prep. I have 4 weeks to go, and my competition might be canceled. But I just want to say that your podcast helped me so much. I listened to it doing my cardio every day. It just gave me that motivation to get up in the morning earlier than usual, do my ab workouts, do my cardio, really push on food, like make sure I don't eat anything that's off my diet. It actually helped me so much, and I'm so grateful for this podcast. It's incredible, and just the ladies inspire me so much to continue and to come back in my next prep even stronger and better than before. So thank you so much.
Hi, this is Katie from Charlottesville. I am definitely one of the newer competitors out there. I just competed this past November in my first show ever. And I actually stumbled upon this podcast kind of by random because I was looking for something that just, was about the sport, because I was so new to it, and kind of definitely had some misconceptions about what it meant to be a bikini competitor. I definitely felt like my body shape would never be something that could go far in terms of competing. However, this podcast has definitely given me more insight into my own body's strengths and how I can highlight those. And definitely after looking up several of the athletes that have been on there, I've found women that have my particular body shape, and really just kind of attached myself to them and felt way more empowered about my course of training, and that, this sport is for everybody. And it's not just about the competition, about winning, but more about, finding what's right for you, and highlighting the positive things about your body. So I've definitely, I've changed up my training, changed up my diet, and I've definitely seen a lot of progress just from listening to the stories that other athletes have shared, in their trials of becoming a professional in the sport. So, I also love to listen to this while I'm doing my cardio. I also, on my days where I'm just kind of not motivated, to listen to the stories of other women, who have been in my shoes, been right where I am. It kind of just gives me solace in my journey to becoming hopefully a professional. But, I just kind of enjoy the ride as, one of my top favorite idol competitors, Daraja Hill, just living in the moment and being where you are and enjoying your progress, and not necessarily looking at others and wishing you were like them, but just knowing that you're in your journey, and you're exactly where you need to be. So I love this podcast. I love all the women that you've brought on. And I think that you just send a very positive message about the sport, and give women a way to connect and listen to each other's stories. So you just keep on doing what you're doing. And I can't wait to listen to all the episodes that you have planned.
Hi, my name is Brianna and I'm from Wisconsin. My favorite thing about the Confessions of a Bikini Pro podcast is that no matter what I'm feeling, if I'm struggling with body image, if I'm struggling with like post-show blues, food issues, whatever, I can go on to the Apple Podcast app in the Confessions of a Bikini Pro page and search exactly what I'm feeling. So be it post-show blues, and there will be at least 3 or 4 different episodes that'll pop up where that is a key takeaway in the episode. So being able to listen to other people talk about their struggles helps me get through mine. That is one of the many, many things I love about this show.
I actually started listening to Confessions of a Bikini Pro podcast when I was prepping for my first ever competition. And it actually was even before I was prepping for my competition. It was when I started thinking about doing a competition. And I cannot even explain, I don't even know if I can put into words how much listening to this podcast and listening to Celeste has helped on that journey. I did my first show last year in July, and I don't think I could have made it through the prep without her. Just hearing everybody's stories and all the experiences of the different pros, and just kept me motivated every single day and just kept me going. Besides the fact that Celeste is so sweet, and even just talking to her on Instagram, completely just would help me through difficult times, because I would just reach out, I would ask her questions, and she would always respond. But this podcast is amazing. I usually would listen At my job, I would listen every Friday when a new one came out, and then if it wasn't at work, it was at the gym. And even now, I just listen around the house whenever a new one comes out. I just pop it on, and there's always so much inspiring and great information to help you through your journey. So Celeste, so grateful for you, so grateful for this podcast. Keep them coming, girl. Keep doing your thing. Thank you.
Wow. Well, words really cannot describe the impact that Celeste Rains-Turk has had on me and the podcast, Confessions of a Bikini Builder Pro. Wow. I'm even lost for words right now as I'm trying to say this for her. But basically, I've got so much freedom with food. I've got so much freedom with myself, and I've learned to not be a slave to my nutrition and training plan. I've learned to be compassionate and accepting, and her and what she stands for and the podcast opens up a space for me to get that it's possible, that I can be on stage, and that, just because I'm just another person doesn't mean that I'm not capable of being that and being that big and being able to create a goal for myself bigger than who I am right now. And yeah, she makes me believe it's possible. She's empowering, encouraging, motivating, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. She is so much more than that. The podcast is so much more than that. And it just allows me to be with other bikini bodybuilders as if we're friends. And I get to hear that I'm not alone and that, they struggle just as much as I do. And that I'm no different to them. If they can do it, I can do it. And Celeste has really just opened up a platform for me to just get that I'm a human and I'm powerful. And I have the ability to impact people, and I have the ability to change, and I have the ability to have what I want and do it healthily. And, I couldn't do this without a podcast or without her. And I'm on this journey, and I honestly feel like she's right beside me. Yeah, right beside me, motivating me and empowering me to go on. As if I'm her only client, as if I'm the only person in her world. Which I know is not the truth, but just the ability of her to tap into that and create that space of uniqueness and that individual platform, both her personally and also through the podcast, just creates a phenomenal world where I get to be whoever I want to be, and I get to do whatever I want to do, and I get to have whatever I want. And so thank you.
I wanted to just say the biggest thank you for creating this podcast. I remember when I kept going kind of just back and forth about competing last summer. I had always been in the gym, always been training. I learned everything that I could about nutrition. I learned everything that I could about exercise pretty much on my own, and I found so much escape through it. I've personally overcome a really bad past with purging and restrictive eating that once I found the gym, it began to change my life. It began to change how I acted, not just towards myself and my body, but towards others. I wanted to really share that new perspective that I gained, but I wasn't quite sure how. I would constantly see girls compete on all over social media, and I knew little bits and parts of it, didn't know much about it. But until about 2018, I started exposing myself to the bodybuilding world, and I kept hearing just how expensive it was. I kept hearing how it'll take up, your entire life, and I kept hearing it'll make you have an eating disorder again. I realized that, that kind of all clicked in my head, and I wanted to go back to school, and I wanted to go for clinical mental health. I actually have my undergrad in culinary, And I admire everything about it, but I wanted to share my perspective. And this, going into clinical mental health, was my answer. In 2019, I made the move and I was all for it. I was all in. I was like, I'm going to get my licensing. But everything was just lingering in my mind about competing and doing a show. That's when I ran into your podcast. That's literally when I knew I needed to compete. You have brought on so many athletes on this show to speak their truth. You've brought so many athletes to help share their perspective, and that clicked and it made sense in my mind. You genuinely led me to being on stage, and you led me to being on that stage with a mindset stronger than just my body. I know that this is a long message, but I needed to thank you for creating the content that you do. I needed to thank you also for bringing one of my favorite athletes onto your show, Daraja. She is just so pure, so humble, and she spoke about the yes mentality, and that really resonated with me. I have to say that right now that's where I'm in life. So I want to thank her, and I want to thank you for sharing that, that you have to create opportunities that weren't really necessarily presented to you, but you still have to go for it. No matter what is standing in my way, I've realized I am creating these moments. I'm creating these moments for me, and that's not selfish. Thank you again. Thank you for bringing all these resources on your page and on your podcast. You are seriously making a difference in this world, Celeste. So thank you again from the bottom of my heart.
Now you guys can see why I nearly cried at the beginning of this episode and listening to these, and why I had to collect myself before I recorded the beginning, because this is so humbling and fulfilling and just amazing to me. And if you could relate to any of the voice messages shared, I hope that you take a screenshot and post it, because they're likely to see that and they took a step out of their comfort zone to share it, and I appreciate it so much. It just means the world to me. I can't even express it in words, and I just thank you. And I have a surprise, okay? So first and foremost, don't forget to use the code PARTYTIME when you get your apparel. That's www.celestial.fit/podcast. Then you click the apparel button and you just choose the outfit you like and then type in party time at checkout. You'll get free shipping. Okay, next thing. If you have listened all the way through and you've thoroughly enjoyed this and you haven't shared it with a friend or a teammate yet, I would love it if you did. That would mean so much. But beyond that, if you have ever considered working with me, whether that be in my post-show personal development program, my food relationship healing and discovery program, or my on-demand mindset coaching platform, I want you to do something. I want you to take this as a sign and an opportunity to take action and to start to move forward in the direction of your goals, to build more than just a body, whether that means making peace with food, your body, or your goals, or all three of those things. My PTG process is used in every single program and platform, and I would love to have you part of it, and I'd love to see if and how we can work together. So if you have ever thought about it and you haven't taken the leap of faith or the plunge or listened to that nudge yet, I hope you do now, because I'm going to extend 10% off to anyone who signs up after listening to this episode. Okay, so all you have to do is send me an email or a DM. Let's say a DM, just in case emails get lost. Send me a DM at celestial_fit on Instagram, or visit my website, www.celestial.fit, and you can contact me through there and just say, hey, I listened to your 100th episode and I want 10% off. Whether that means you want 10% off the annual plan for the on-demand mindset coaching platform, or you want to discuss how I might be able to help you in the food, relationship, healing, and discovery program, that is a one-on-one coaching program, meaning I do need to qualify you before I choose to work with you in that program. And I would hope you'd be qualifying me as your coach as well. And then if you decide, oh, I really want to do this post-show program, and you've looked at the page for that, reach out to me first, because I want to give you 10% off of that, okay? So I hope you guys loved this episode and hearing everyone's stories, and have loved just having 100 episodes to listen to and get inspired by and connect with these athletes and really feel like a family all together, because that's what we are. So with all of that being said, thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, night, or morning, wherever you are in the world, while you are listening to the 100th